The Fan. Live, local, and talking about the teams that matter to you. This is Talkin Sports with Jim Shovlin on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM. Brought to you by McMahon's Best One Tire and Auto Care.
And welcome in. This is Talkin Sports. I'm DC Hendrix filling in for Jim Shovlin this morning. Pleasure to be with you all. Jim Shovlin is, I'm sure, listening, and we'll be on in a couple of weeks, I believe, to check in and give everyone an update on what's going on with him. DC Hendrix here alongside my man. I got a producer and co-host in the building today. Hanging with me this morning, I got Adam Lundy. What's going on, man?
Hey, good morning, DC. Happy to be here with you.
It's been a minute. I think when I first moved back to town, like the second day I was back, we co-hosted the Sports Rush together.
Yes.
And that was fun.
That was fun.
We had never done a show before, and they're like, all right, you guys are doing a show together. And it went very well.
We make it happen.
That's right.
We make it happen.
We make radio magic here. This is Talkin Sports filling in for Jim Shovlin this morning. If you guys want to be a part of the show, be a part of it on the text line at 260-447-8500. 260-447-8500 is how you can be a part of the show. Very excited for this week's edition, and of course want to give a shout out to Jim Shovlin, who is not on the show today but would be if he could. But yeah, also the text line is sponsored by Goodwill Industries of Northeast Indiana at 260-447-8500. So a lot to talk about on the sports week, a lot going on here in the Fort Wayne area code, a lot going on in Northeast Indiana. Adam, I mean, where do we start, right?
A lot of places to start. I think one of the biggest stories from over the weekend, or actually from earlier this week, I should say, since we're just getting into the weekend, would have to be the departure of head coach Maria Marchesano from the Purdue Fort Wayne Mastodons, and she's headed to now coach the Butler Bulldogs down near Indianapolis.
Alma mater.
Yeah, her alma mater, where she's a program record holder in multiple statistics, and very, very cherished as a player down there. You can tell from the social media that the Butler program is very excited to have her. It seemed like she was their number one option when they realized they were going to be making a coaching change. So very excited for Coach Marchesano, and they've actually already also announced a new head coach.
Yeah, very quickly.
Things move fast now in college basketball, so a new women's basketball coach coming to Purdue Fort Wayne as well.
Yeah, very excited for not only Purdue Fort Wayne, that is pretty much, what Marchesano leaves as an established program at this point. A couple deep runs into the late WNIT tournament. A pretty respectable program in the Rising League as well, competing for conference championships. So I think she leaves it in good hands. She left it in better hands than it was when she took it over, which is always a plus when you're a head coach. And that's the goal, ultimately. And she goes, to her alma mater. I've seen all the pictures and the videos, interviews with my good buddy Glenn Marini from Wayne 15. And yeah, she looks very, very excited, very, very relaxed, but also she looks like, man, this is a lot. This is a lot to take in at one time. So
it's very excited. Step up going to the Big East, but no question about it. So yeah, super excited. And like you said, this was a Purdue Fort Wayne program that had one win in the year before that she joined the program, and she turned it around. And like you said, multiple postseason appearances in the WNIT, multiple 20-win seasons, program record winning seasons. So congratulations, and looking forward to the next step for Maria Marchesano.
Yeah, just overall too, and this before we switch gears, just wanted to mention this. Just overall, I think the game of women's basketball has evolved so much, college level, professional level. You're watching for the first time ever WNBA players getting $1 million contracts for the first time ever, multiple, including Kelsey Mitchell of the Indiana Fever, $1 million contracts. So it's evolving. Women's basketball is growing all the way from youth all the way up to the professional level. So very excited to, watch this program and what is next for them. A big show lined up as we got we got two guests coming on. No Mike McCaffrey this week as he is busy working today, so wasn't able to come on. But we will still have that weekly TinCaps chat with the team president, Mr. Mike Nutter. A lot to talk about homestaying. It's going to be beautiful today, so definitely looking forward to talking to Mike Nutter and some TinCaps baseball. And later on, we'll talk with Shane Albahrani, radio voice for the Fort Wayne Komets as well. But sticking with basketball right now, I'm a Purdue Boilermaker fan, and you told me something before we even got started on the show that has to take precedent to anything else. Has me excited, The end of the season didn't go exactly the way I wanted. Arizona's a better team. I mean, look, really, like, I can't sit here and be really shocked that Arizona beat the Purdue Boilermakers, but you told me something before we started the show that makes me feel a lot better going into next season.
Yeah, no, this was super cool to see from Purdue basketball yesterday. They posted this on their social media, and it was basically a picture of 10 of their 11 eligible players all in one picture, and it just said, we're going to be back next season, basically. So 10 of Purdue's 11 eligible players will return for the 26-27 season. The school announced those 10 players are all locked in for next year. So that's a lot of stability and a lot of returning factor for Matt Painter going into next year, which we've seen has been an advantage in this new college basketball landscape. Less turnover can mean more cohesiveness as a team.
Yeah, and one person that I know that a lot of people will be excited about, a player I got to see a couple of times. I got to see him twice this season. Mr. Indiana Basketball, Gatorade Player of the Year, 3-point shootout winner just last week. I mean, you name it. Kid is already adding all these accolades. But from Mount Vernon up in over in Fortville, Indiana, we got Luke Ertl stepping in for the Purdue Boilermakers next season. Almost 23 points a game. State champion. I mean, look, 3-point shooter. Let's go. If anybody is excited about any player coming in, it's got to be Luke Ertl. I don't know if you've got to follow him at all, but
I've seen some highlights from the basketball state tournament and just the run that their team had and some of his highlights from there. So again, it's kind of like Matt Painter, in a way, refuses to step into this modern era of college basketball. I mean, he's retaining all of his players. He's bringing in high quality freshmen that he's recruited in high school. I mean, this sounds like, the ways of NCAA old nowadays, but not only Luke Ertl, there's also, Jacob Weber. Yeah. And I mentioned there's also a Chinese center that I believe has committed to Purdue. He's a 4-star center. His name is Sinan Huan. So just another big man to add to the list of Purdue big men. But
they like those uncoordinated big men that make me mad every don't get me started, man. But they, it works. I mean, everybody can't be Zach Edey, though. He is one of the few examples. He can move and he can pass. That's what separated him. Caleb Swanigan was another one. He may not have been the most athletic, but he could pass, which is huge.
In today's game, if you're a center, you need to be able to at least, see some of the first look passes out to, the other players in today's game. No question. You can't just always turn your back to the basket and go for it.
Get it out to those shooters. You got to have a big man to get it out, especially when they get double teamed down low. But yeah, very excited for the Purdue Boilermakers and the future of them. And just, as the college basketball season, is in the rear view, how do you feel about, and it's, especially in today's day and age, like, it's really important to know that a program is bringing that many people in and back to the program, because with the transfer portal, I mean, do you think that it's just, because I had this conversation, I was at a baseball game. I don't know how this conversation came up at a baseball game, but one of the people came up to me and we're just talking sports, and funny, no pun intended. We're just talking, and he's like, we start talking transfer portal. I don't know where it came from, but he's asking me which college sport has it the worst. Which college sport is the transfer portal the worst in? Meaning, which sport has the biggest turnover in terms of transfer portal? I thought it was college football. Mm-hmm. I think college football is actually getting the worst in terms of it, especially when you look at quarterbacks. Like you can see a quarterback on one team this year, and then the next year they're on another team. I think college football is getting worse, but they tried to argue that college basketball's transfer portal is worse. From your perspective, Adam, which do you think is worse?
Man, that's a good question.
I know it made me think a little bit. I stick with it. I think college football is worse. Not only because it's publicized more, maybe that could be why I feel that way. I feel like they talk about it a lot more on the football side. I just think there's a lot of turnover in college football and then you get those extra years of eligibility that make it even, like, you got, Carson Beck, who's in his 12th year of college football playing this year. Dude's like my age, still playing quarterback in high school or in college. Probably got kids showing up to the practices. And he's just an example. There's, and obviously I'm exaggerating, but I think college football.
Man, yeah.
Any way you lean with them in college basketball? I mean, college basketball's getting up there too.
Yeah, basketball's getting rough too. I mean, it's getting tougher and tougher for low and mid majors to keep their players and to maintain quality rosters. I mean, you've been seeing a lot more of the low and mid majors pulling up from Division II and NAIA and D3 and things like that. I'm just going to call it even. I'm going to just call it about even. Yeah, because that's a tough question. But
yeah, even like, we've had people here, Keon Brooks started at Kentucky, ended up at Washington. Ayanna Patterson, Homestead, she's transferring.
She is.
No more UConn. And it's like, and I'm not using these two as an example.
No.
They're just, but what I'm about to say has nothing to do with them. But like in most instances, when these players transfer, they might not even play another minute on the court, field. And it's like, so what do the schools get out of this? Like they put in bringing you into the program, they give scholarships, they give, roster slots just for, and I get it. Coaches leave too. Coaches leave and get new opportunities. So I get it. I understand both sides, but it's like, at what point does it just become too much of a problem and too much of it happening? Because like I said, there's so many people that you see all these names, so-and-so enters the transfer portal, and then you never hear their name again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and I think another thing that also now we're seeing more in basketball, which we don't really see as much in football, is because basketball is more of a global sport. You're seeing a lot more European players who are already in their 20s coming over and getting, multiple years of NCAA basketball eligibility. So, now we're almost seeing the NCAA basketball being a developmental league, not only for American basketball players, but for, European players too. So that just adds a whole nother pool, a whole nother level of competition for every single player to, get as much as possible, because you never know if you're going to get that opportunity, or some guy from Sweden who's 6'9" and can shoot 40% from three is going to have it all of a sudden. So interesting landscape in college sports, no question.
And some of it too that I would add into is, these kids coming out of high school, and, I understand the dream. Everybody has dreams. Everyone has goals. I don't want to diminish that, but not everyone is a Division I athlete. But these high school kids think that's the only goal. That's the only thing they can be. There's elite level of sports, NAIA, JUCO, Division III, Division II. There's elite levels right here in NAIA. There's no reason. Like, for example, Taylor Trojans, Upland, Indiana, hour away, number 1 ranked baseball program in the country in NAIA. They travel to Arizona for 2 weeks as a college kid and get, all the amenities that come along with it. You telling me as a 19, 20-year-old, I get to go to Arizona for a couple of weeks and hang out in the sun while it's snowing in, Fort Wayne or Upland, Indiana, all spring. I get to go hang out in Arizona and play baseball and get fed for free. It's like you get treated that way in all levels of sports, and all these kids just have these dreams that are so one-sided. It's D1 or nothing. It's D1 is the prettiest thing, and it's like that's not the case. And not all of you are Division I. There are some players in this area that are Division I, basketball, football, and baseball. So yeah, the conversation came up because I had a player that was just on my podcast, Jordan Malott, who played his senior season baseball here for the Carroll Chargers. Mm-hmm. He had moved here, I think it was from Texas, and he played his senior season here at Carroll, but he started in college at Huntington, and then went to Indiana Tech last season, won all conference, by the way.
Nice.
And then now he's with Taylor, the number 1 team. So a lot of transferring there. That's 3 programs. So that's where the conversation came up, because this person listened to the episode, and that's where the conversation came up. And so, again, though, has had great experiences in NAIA, loves it. But he's hitting 400 and has like 15 home runs, and it's only been 2 weeks of the season. Could easily be Division I. He could. And this is a player that's hit 40-plus home runs in his college career. He could play Division I. He chooses not to. He has a good enough time and a great time in NAIA and prefers it that way. So just an example, great, you get treated well at all levels of college sports. So maybe that could be part of the issue too with this transferring, is everyone wants, to go to these glamorous, programs and think they're going to be treated like a future NBA player or future NFL player, and that's not always the case. The grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah, no question about it. And there's still a lot of opportunity. I mean, like you said, it doesn't matter where you start out at. It's how you finish. I mean, you just got to seize whatever opportunity you can take. Don't question and don't expect to be treated like a celebrity just because you're an athlete. I mean, it's a very rare air of celebrity athletes. That's a common household name. But, hey, the goal should be to become one of those, but it doesn't matter where you start. It's how you finish.
That's right. And, after this game, speaking of high school baseball and high school athletics, right after this game, we got a broadcast?
Yeah, right after Talkin Sports this morning, we're going to be out bringing you a high school baseball game coverage with Brett Rump and Dean Pantazzi. That's going to be Angola taking on Leo, so a little Northeast State action.
Very exciting. And yeah, I've been on the move as well, going to these high school baseball games. Yeah, I've been busy. Like after I get off work, because I had the luxury of working from home, so I've been getting out and getting busy. And I went to Lures Leo at World Baseball Academy this past week. Leo looks good. I'm not gonna lie, the Leo Lions look good. So look forward to a good game today. Angola's got a couple of good players, but Leo they're loaded, man. They got so many players. I mean, Nolan Butcher, I watched him. I mean, he's one of the best catchers in the area, but also he can pitch. I watched him pitch a good game against Lures. They got a backup catcher that's going to Trine. I watched him throw to second base effortlessly. Like they definitely have, they're very loaded at Leo, I believe. So definitely watch out for that game. Coming up later on today with Brett Rump and Dean Pantazzi. Homestead Spartans are still rolling. They're loaded as well. They got 5 seniors already committed to playing college baseball. They have underclassmen that are getting ranked in the top 10 of their class in 28 and 27. Luke Haley, Eli Chappelle. They're loaded too. So tons of talent in the area. So looking forward to that as well. Before we take a break, I wanted to get this in as well. Jim Shovlin sent me this morning, and also want to preface this as, Talkin Sports is local sports of all sorts. So we mention it all here. So if you have anything, the Goodwill Industries Northeast Indiana text line is open at 260-447-8500. But the Fort Wayne drummer earns top honors at the Las Vegas Foosball Tournament. Fort Wayne Philharmonic percussionist Allison Chorn and won the first place at the 2026 World Foosball Tour Hall of Fame Classic Tournament in Las Vegas, Nevada. And of course, foosball, I think Shovlin's even had him as a guest on the show before. So local sports of all sorts, we got you covered here on Talkin Sports. But we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got more baseball to talk about because we have the weekly chat with TinCaps team president, Mr. Mike Nutter, right after the break. This is Talkin Sports. DC Hendrix filling in for Jim. And, of course, my boy Adam Lundy filling in the producer's chair. Talkin Sports, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Now back to Talkin Sports with Jim Shovlin on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
What a rejoin, Adam. Talkin Sports, DC Hendrix filling in for Jim Shovlin this morning. Thank you so much for tuning in and making us part of your Saturday. It's going to be beautiful later on today, so definitely get out to the Parkview Field. Text line is open at 260-447-8500, sponsored by Northeast Indiana Goodwill Industries. 260-447-8500 is the text line. It is open. If you have anything on your mind for this sports, Masters is going on right now. If you got anything on the Masters, Rory trying to go B2B.
Man.
Trying to go back-to-back.
That'd be huge. He's crushing the field right now.
And, of course, the one time I joined a Masters pool to try to win some cash, of course, this is the one time I don't pick Rory. I got terrible luck with this stuff. Anytime, Adam, I place a bet on something I am so sure about, I don't win every time. And it's always, I'll predict 10 things right, and the moment I put $1 on it, I lose.
Yeah, and it's always things that you feel convinced about too. It's the ones that you think, oh, he'll hit that easy, or
of course
he can do that easily. He does that every single game, and then the one time you put money on it.
LeBron 20 points, he'll get 19.
Yeah,
he'll miss the free throw.
The house always wins, DC.
That's right, got to get it right. But hey, we got a lot of baseball to still get to here as the TinCaps unfortunately took a loss last night, but I want to start on a positive note with our guest. Of course, our weekly chat with the TinCaps team president, Mr. Mike Nutter. Mike, good morning.
Good morning. No technical difficulties this week.
That's right. We got it rolling. So I want to start off on a positive note. They always say records are meant to be broken, right? And you got a little something to tell us with the TinCaps, right?
This week we announced that in our 18th year in downtown Fort Wayne, we have set our all-time season ticket record.
Let's go.
So, yeah, it's absolutely awesome. And like we always try and do here, we defer and deflect to the community. It's not sitting here going, hey, look how great we are. But 18 years in, a lot of people would say it's the beginning of the downfall and it's the attrition and things like that. And our second best year ever for season ticket holders was last year. And so through the other day when Jaden sent out a quick note to you guys in the media, we had gotten over 1,780 full season equivalents. It actually spurred a little bit of interest of people saying, hey, did I miss out? And we laughed. No, you can always get 12 or 17 or 33 game packages or really the rest of the year. It's been awesome. On nights like last night, weather's still a bit of a challenge and things like that. Everybody understands that when it's this early in the year. But with that season ticket base, we put up a number of 2,700 people for our attendance. And again, I'm not disparaging anybody else in this league. I don't ever name other teams in a negative fashion. But many are putting up under 1,000. And so what we think is when it does warm up for good, in addition to great weather today and tomorrow, the numbers will just keep rising. And so it's a really cool thing to talk about for a minute. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, and I think it's great. This is Adam here, and I think it's great that you get the community out there, and a huge credit to them for coming out. But the fact of the matter is you have to give them a reason to come out. And, you guys built a fantastic stadium down there at downtown Fort Wayne and at Parkview Field. And, it would be easy for a lot of teams to just say, hey, we built a fantastic field here in 2009, and we can just expect fans to come and see us and enjoy their night out. But you guys have put in an effort to constantly maintain, update, and improve not only the stadium but the fan experience throughout these 18 years. And I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing so many fans come to these TinCaps games.
Adam, that's awesome. If my wife was on the line with us, she's saying, I wish my husband was a little more like that guy you just described. They could just sit back and not dwell on stuff. And there's anxiety around it. Again, not in a bragging sense, but there's anxiety around it because of what we've done before and what we want to continue to do and help this region continue to grow and downtown continue to grow. The downtown's not even the same as it was when we opened in 2009. And we're not trying to take credit for all of it, but it's just absolutely awesome. And one of those great promotions that people circle all the time with us is one of them's today, and then there's another one again next homestand. So if somebody's listening and misses this, it's our military appreciation stuff. So military, first responders, we got a bunch of people that are being deployed right now. There's a lot going on in the world. I ran into a guy I coached with all the years of travel baseball in town. His son had a ton of college offers, was a great left-handed pitcher out of Huntington North. He's getting deployed today over to the Middle East. And so there's a lot of serious stuff going on in the world. But with baseball, for the people that are in town or retired military, or just as importantly, and sometimes maybe more so, any of the families, any of the kids, any of the significant others, any of the extended family today and again in a couple weeks can come out for one of our 2 military appreciation days and get in for free. There's no catch. It's also a weekend, so park on the street for free. Like, we're not trying to get your money. We're trying to say thank you for all you've done. And so that's a cool promotion. The guys will be in the military patriotic jerseys today. So fans that see those online, I saw them the other day. They're absolutely awesome. Now, they're not going to be as cool as DC's jersey that he's going to love for pro wrestling night in a couple of months with the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Tony Desplaines is an old wrestling fan like me, and he put on the sleeve for the DiBiase jersey his tagline of "Everybody has a price."
Nice.
So there in that soundbite, we talk about the quirky, the slapstick, the funny pro wrestling, but the serious of the military and us saying our thanks today. I think we have a legitimate chance to get We're already just over 4,000 tickets today. That's usually unheard of for us in April.
Wow.
Weather's great today. It's 80 degrees tomorrow. People that haven't met Cash Mayfield, who's now had 2 starts, the number 1 pick without giving up a run, can meet him post-game tomorrow and get autographs. And they can also see Alex McCoy. Fellas, I believe he's the biggest player we've ever had suit up. 6'6", 6'7", 250. Freak athlete that can run, leading us in hitting, doubles, nicest guy you could meet. And tomorrow's going to be 80 degrees. For the people that are a little slower out there like I am, let me repeat that. That's 80 degrees for back-to-back 105 games today and tomorrow. So we hope we see some people out here.
Absolutely. TinCaps team president, Mr. Mike Nutter, joining us here on the text line here, sponsored by Goodwill Industries of Fort Wayne, Northeast Indiana. Definitely want to talk as well. You know, I'm a bigger guy, although I'm on a diet the past couple of weeks, so trying to change that. But one thing I love about going to Parkview Field and the TinCaps Stadium, you guys have great food. And I know a lot of fans are like me and like to eat when they come to the game. So you got any new food items to talk about as well for this year?
We do. Let's hit a few things real quick. We might be up against it on time for drinks. There's a micro brew out there that people have been asking us about for years. It's called Zombie Dust. It's hard to find. We got a partnership with them so people can find that one. Poppy drinks. It's distributed by Pepsi. Poppy's getting really, really popular. And so we've done in left field, I think it'll be open starting next homestand. If we can get it pulled off by tomorrow, we will, since it's going to be so warm. But there's going to be a dirty soda and a soda float cart out in left field. Think Orange Crush and Dr. Pepper and Wild Cherry and root beer with vanilla with soft serve and floats and dirty soda. DC, that's not going to help you and I watching what we eat over the last couple of weeks. Some of this other stuff will. A couple other things that I want to highlight real quick. We've all heard of chicken and waffles. My family, my mom, I know my mom and dad are listening right now in Central Florida. Chicken and waffles are big in Fort Wayne. Well, in the South. Our version of it down in stand 4, down the third baseline, chicken and, that's right, fellas, funnel cake. So our version of the waffles is put some funnel cake in there. And so good. Our chicken and waffles with funnel cake, you can get it in a big helmet if you want and have a blast. Wednesday nights, we know how important dogs are in our community. Wednesday nights, people have been able to bring their dogs for years. We brought dog treats out, fellas. Peanut butter and cheese, ice cream style treats on Wednesday for the dogs. The last 2 things I'll hit. You know, lines can be a challenge at the beginning of the year when the crowds are huge. We have installed our first grab and go right outside the Orchard Team store. Come get it. Don't wait in a long line. Grab what you want. Cheeseburger, hot dogs, snacks, packaged beer, soft drinks, water. Right at the main entrance, grab it. Nobody knows about it yet. There aren't any lines yet for it. And the last one to highlight, we transitioned one of the carts that we had on the concessions to a build-your-own burger cart called the Backstop Burgers. There's all kinds of premium burgers. You can make it a double for just a couple bucks more. There's black bean burgers. I'll tell the listeners out there, again, you and I can talk food all day, DC, but on Wednesday and Thursday night, I went back-to-back. You don't want to wear it out this early in the year with 66 home games. But I did the cowboy burger, great grilled burger, barbecue sauce, jalapenos, onion petals, and cheese. And I'm here to tell you that's pretty darn good.
I guess I asked for it. I have not eaten this morning, and I was already hungry, and you made it worse.
Starts tomorrow. Come out today.
It definitely did not help. That's for sure. Well, thank you so much for all that, though, Mike. I'm definitely looking forward to making it out there. I probably won't make it today, but tomorrow is a possibility for me. But although I can't make it, I know all the fans want to see me. But instead, no, I'm just kidding. All seriousness, though, definitely get out to Parkview Field to support these TinCaps early. It's going to be beautiful. And TinCaps are going to get it rolling here. I know it's, the beginning of the season is always rough for minor leaguers, So hang in there. TinCaps will get it going. Yep. Mike, thank you so much for coming on. We'll be back at it next week. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, fellas. fellas. 1 o'clock today and 1 o'clock tomorrow. We'll see you at the ballpark, everybody.
Sounds good. TinCaps team president, Mr. Mike Nutter, joining us here on the phone line, sponsored by Fire Police Credit Union on Talkin Sports. Text line is open, sponsored by Goodwill Industries of Northeast Indiana at 260-447-8500. Quick break. We'll come back. Shane Albahrani, radio voice of the Fort Wayne Komets. Let's talk a little Komet hockey. This is Talkin Sports on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Now back to Talkin Sports with Jim Shovlin on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
And welcome back, Talkin Sports. DC Hendrix filling in for Jim Shovlin this morning alongside my main man, Adam Lundy. Paving the way. We got high school baseball on the airwaves coming up at the top of the hour, baby. I'm excited. High school baseball season. Brett Rump and Dean Pantazzi will be on the call for the Angola Hornets at the Leo Lions. Leo still undefeated, 2-0.
Hey, they always put out a good team on the field.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ryan Eaton, one of our listeners. He let me know that Angola's in the NECC, not the NE8. Yeah. So I goofed up.
Oh, you said NE8? I didn't know that.
I goofed up earlier.
My bad. I didn't catch it either. Thanks, Ryan. Shout out Ryan Eaton, always locked into the airwaves. I didn't hear you say that. My bad.
Hey, I'm known to make a goof or two, but I'm always willing to own up to it.
It happens. So Leo, and I know Brett Rump will give a nice little pregame and a little preview of this game. Leo beat Wayne in the first game 18-2. To give you that background, and then like I said, this past week on Wednesday out of World Baseball Academy, I was out there and they beat Lures 13-1.
Wow.
So yeah, this Leo team is legit. Grant Robinson, Dominic Reniker, Nolan Butcher, as I mentioned before, loaded. Seems loaded. So Leo Angola coming up at the top of the hour. Also, Ryan had a couple other messages I wanted to read to, and I know we had some text
for sure
on the text line as well. We're trying to catch up on everything. Yeah, we were talking earlier about the transfer portal and all these kids, thinking the grass is greener on the other side, turning college athletics into free agency, and talked about players like Carson Beck. I always use that example.
That's a good example.
I mean, it is. I mean, dude's old. Playing college sports, finally going to the NFL. But Ryan said exactly, how do these players have so much eligibility?
Yeah.
Red shirts is one. That's one way. I mean, there's all kinds of little ways to get an extra year eligibility. It's gotten a little out of hand. Ryan also, so I asked the question earlier, which college sport is it worse than the transfer portal? College basketball or college football? Adam Eaton said basketball is worse. Over half the players were in the portal immediately following the season. So
it did happen very quickly. I've seen over half the men's players have now entered the transfer portal, I believe, or close to half, and it was very quick. And also the recruitments are also happening very quickly. The new commitments are happening very quickly. I mentioned to you during a break that J.P. Estrella from Tennessee committed to Michigan, and Dusty May and the Wolverines within 3 days of entering the transfer portal. I don't think he visited anywhere during those 3 days. So I think that might have already been in the works, but I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything here live on the airwaves. But now Michigan does have another 6'11", 240-pound big man added to their team.
We know in these scenarios, if anybody really thinks that there was no contact beforehand, come on.
I got a bridge to sell you.
Yeah. So Ryan also weighed in. We were talking about the TinCaps struggling at the early part of the season. He said, Cubs and TinCaps off the slow starts once again. Don't even get me started on Major League Baseball. My Seattle Mariners, after reaching the American League Championship Series, by the way, and pushing the Blue Jays to the brink.
I remember.
Game 7. Didn't they go to 7?
I'm not sure. I just know they gave them a run for their money.
Last place in the American League West.
And they're breaking the Ichiro statue, and it's just going
all bad. Like, what is happening? Don't even get me started.
That might be bad juju for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
I mean, you break the Ichiro statue. I mean,
but the Cubs aren't doing much better. They've won one more game than the Mariners and are at the bottom of the National League Central. So luckily, there's a billion more games left to turn it around.
You got to hope it's just a case of April baseball, and that it's cold, and the Cubs, and it's cold probably where the Mariners are playing. So things will heat up hopefully for both of those teams.
Yeah, before the top of the hour, be sure to weigh in on the Goodwill Industries of Northeast Indiana text line 260-447-8500. Take one more break. Come back with Shane Albahrani, and we'll wrap things up a little early for Brett Rump and Dean Fantazi for the call of the Angola Hornets and Leo Lions high school baseball action coming up. But we'll take a break. We'll talk Comet hockey after the break. Talkin Sports, 1380 The Fan, 100.9 FM.
Now back to Talkin Sports with Jim Shovlin on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
And welcome back. DC Hendrix filling in on Talkin Sports. Look, all right, Adam, you're already my boy, but you just played Jay-Z. Rejoin coming back. Let's go. DC Hendrix filling in for Jim Shovlin this morning on Talkin Sports. Adam Lundy on the board. And before we wrap up, we had to get our weekly fix. Let's talk a little Fort Wayne Komets. They're rolling. 5-1 victory last night, and we got our go-to, Mr. Shane Albahrani. Shane, good morning.
Hey, what's up, DC?
Hey, nothing much. You still sound riled up. Big game last night. The Komets hat trick for the first time in a couple of years. What's going on?
Yeah, it was the first hat trick of the season. William Dufour got the natural hat trick, 3 straight goals in about 3.5 minutes. Last night in the second period against Kalamazoo was the first natural hattie we've had since 2023. Yeah. It was the 90th natural hat trick in Komet history, so something doesn't happen very often. But what a great night. The Komets got a big win against the Kalamazoo team that had won 6 out of 7. Mm-hmm. And the Central Division is just packed tight now because Kalamazoo, losing to the Komets last night, they were in 3rd place in the Central Division in the playoffs, and now they're out of the playoffs. That shows you how tight everything is. So the Komets will go up to Kalamazoo today, play at 4:30, and Toledo, they lost last night in overtime, so the Komets have got a great chance to win the division title Sunday at the Coliseum, 5 o'clock. The Walleye are in town. And depending on what happens here today, the worst we can be looking at is being a game back with a game at hand and another head-to-head with these guys. But there is a good possibility that we walk back to the Coliseum on Sunday either with the division lead or tied for the division lead with just a couple of games to go. So Sunday, 5 o'clock, get your tickets to Coliseum because it is going to be just one of those classic Fort Wayne-Toledo matchups with a lot on the line.
So I need a recap, though. Last week we promoted and previewed Superhero Night, and my daughter came home with the new superhero costume and said she had a good time. So how did everything transpire last weekend?
Oh, everything was great, and unfortunately we lost in overtime there on Superhero Night. But, hey, you know what? That's going to happen. We're just turning the page now and looking forward to this weekend. Last night was a dominant performance for the Komets. Again, Kalamazoo came in red hot. And we were able to just, stomp them all night long for a 5-1 win. And hoping we're going to do it again here tonight. But, we can't look past Kalamazoo here. We actually have got a chance to make history tonight because it's our last road game of the regular season. If the Komets win it, they will have matched the record for most road wins in a season. With 25, they're sitting at 24 right now, but we can't look past them. We're looking, we know we got a big game on Sunday, but we got to take care of business here today.
Yeah, I was listening to you a little bit on the broadcast, and I know I know you don't like talking about it, the playoff position and home ice and away ice, but at this point, I think the Komets would like to be away for that playoff series.
Yeah, it's a funny debate, because we have been so good on the road. It's like, maybe we would rather be in second place and only have home ice advantage in the first round. But you know what? It's Toledo. It's just the pride thing. You do not want your rivals to finish above you. And, they have reigned supreme in the Central Division for so many years. And, here's a chance for the Komets to finally knock off their reign of terror, and hopefully we can do it head to head. We've got 2 head-to-head games left with them tomorrow or a Sunday at the Coliseum, and then again next Thursday. So that could be maybe the de facto Central Division championship game on Thursday at the Coliseum. So it is going to be a good week of Komet hockey, and we've also got game sandwich in there against the Indy Fuel that won their game in Iowa last night. And then because they were out of the playoffs going into the night, with their win and Kalamazoo's loss, they're back in the playoffs, and they're going to go back and forth here. And, there could be a possibility, depending on what happens when the Komets play Indy on Wednesday, it could be a knockout game. The Komets could have a chance to knock out Indy for the playoffs put them in the playoffs. We don't know.
I like it. All kind of scenarios going into this final stretch of the season. Lastly, Shane, big promotion coming up on Sunday as well with Meyer Family Night. What can families get for the Komets game on Sunday?
Oh, yeah. You get 4 tickets for just $60 and get your skates. It's our final end-of-game skate. Bring your skates. You can go out on the ice and skate with the players after the game on Sunday. Again, it's a 5 o'clock start. I know it's going to be a beautiful day, but that just means it's playoff hockey season. So get your tickets, and we'll see you at Coliseum 5 o'clock on Sunday.
Absolutely, Shane. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much. Shane Albahrani, radio voice of the Fort Wayne Komets, joining us here on Talkin Sports, and the phone line sponsored by Fire Police Credit Union. DC Hendrix wrapping up here. Adam Lundy, man, thank you so much for coming in today and doing this. I know you're going to be bored up in the high school game, but you still didn't have to come in and do this. You could be just getting here now.
My pleasure, man.
Thank you so much for coming in. Can I have you next week?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Sounds good. You can tell me no off air if you really can't make it.
I'll let you know.
Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. This has been Talkin Sports. DC Hendrix filling in for Shovlin. He might be coming on next week or the week after to give us an update on his health and everything going on. We will see. But thank you so much for listening. Thanks to TinCaps president, Mr. Mike Nutter, for coming on. And, of course, Shane Albahrani, but mostly you, the listener. Take a quick break, and we'll come back with high school baseball action. Brett Rump and Dean Pantazzi on the call, Angola Hornets and the Leo Lions coming up in just moments. Talkin Sports on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.